Let me ask you this question, because we've been talking a lot about RFK Jr. My mind is a bit blown. I mean, we knew that Donald Trump would go wild. There's no constraints on him. He could just put all his friends in. But we're talking about RFK Jr. and the possibility of people pulling back on measles vaccines, on another pandemic happening. You're talking about Matt Gaetz. There's a 17-year-old girl out there terrified that all of her records, all of the witnesses against him in this case where she was trafficked, could be in the hands of Matt Gaetz, and he could be the most powerful law enforcement official in the country in a case where the president of the United States is an adjudicated sexual abuser. If you're a sexual assault survivor, you're thinking, oh my God, this country is out to get me. They're out to get me and force me to have children by sexual assault. So the message to women has been insane, okay? And the people he's nominating are TV hosts, etc. Do you think the people who voted for him that you've talked to were expecting this?
No.
Donald Trump cabinet nominees are so dangerous, so disastrous, and so completely unqualified that they are universally maligned. It's not just Democrats and independents, but Republican members of Congress as well are coming out against Matt Gaetz, Tulsi Gabbard, and RFK Jr. for what a disaster they would be in our government. But it's not even just Republican members of Congress, the current Republican president-elect. Yes, Donald Trump. There is a video of him that he posted on Truth Social calling out the extreme nature of RFK Jr.'s policy positions and what a dangerous threat to our country he would be. And of course, it is backfiring on Donald Trump, as we are all pointing out how horrible this nomination of RFK Jr. as Health and Human Services Secretary would be. It is absolutely terrifying. And we are going to get into this video of Trump trashing his own nominee. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. And like I said, so many Republicans coming out against these nominees. But what's even stranger is the fact that we see Republicans supporting them. I know this is what we should expect, the spineless nature of the MAGA movement, but just listen to Nancy Mace try to defend Matt Gaetz in this clip right here.
Ethics Committee had been investigating Gaetz, as you well know, for allegedly having sexual relations with a 17-year-old minor and using illicit drugs. He has denied this. Republicans abruptly canceled tomorrow's meeting to discuss that report. Do you have concerns about these allegations or the role of the American public in knowing what that report may have said?
Well, I have concerns with media, being judge, jury, and executioner. This is an individual that the DOJ investigated, and they decided not to pursue charges. And so, again, when we're talking about civil rights and civil liberties and giving someone that opportunity, you're innocent until proven guilty in this country. I've been accused of a lot of things that ended up being completely untrue, but he will have his say going again through the Senate confirmation process. He'll have a chance to discuss any questions that he's asked in the public realm.
What is Nancy Mace saying? Was it the mainstream media that was committing crimes on behalf of Matt Gaetz? No. He was doing that himself. And the fact that she's trying to pretend, like I've said for so long, that the mainstream media isn't the one actually defending Matt Gaetz, that Fox and Steve Bannon and Joe Rogan aren't actually supporting him. Just a ridiculous claim to make. But like I've said, so many other Republicans, and they probably won't voice this, but some of them are coming out against Donald Trump's nominees. And like I said, RFK Chief among them, probably the most dangerous. I know. Matt Gaetz, Tulsi Gabbard, it's a tough competition for who is the worst, but at least Donald Trump has some thoughts on RFK Jr. reflecting how dangerous he would be. And we can see him in this clip right here.
I'd even take Biden over Jr. because our country would last about a year or two longer than it would with Jr. It would collapse almost immediately, and his family, a radical left, a crazy left, a bunch of lunatics, would take over, and our country will die very quickly. So RFK's views on vaccines are fake, as is everything else about his candidacy. He is not a Republican, so don't think you're going to vote for him and feel good. He's a radical left Democrat. Let the Democrats have RFK Jr. They deserve him.
Now, of course, Donald Trump doesn't have actually any real beliefs. He's always just willing to do whatever it takes, say whatever he needs to get his way, to enrich himself, to abuse power, to abuse our institutions. And so, yeah, RFK Jr. endorsed him, so he'll happily put him in whatever position he wants. Because Donald Trump doesn't actually care what happens to people. Like VP Harris tried to warn us, he's focused on his enemies list, not a to-do list. And the to-do list that's going on is getting rid of vaccines for RFK Jr. and assault on the institutions that protect our health. That is his to-do list, a to-do list that should scare us. And when we're talking about the enemies list, yeah, Matt Gaetz is AG. He will definitely have that covered for Donald Trump, at least not helping any of us. But still, Republicans are trying to defend him. Listen to this nonsense again from Nancy Mace right here.
I support all of Donald Trump's appointments that he is seeking, including Matt Gaetz. This is someone who's been very good on civil rights and civil liberty issues. He's good on cannabis issues, something that I'm very passionate about. He's someone that believes in the Constitution. And I think that's really important when you're looking at who's going to lead in that department. And also, Trump is also appointing other folks, including attorneys, as well, to support Matt Gaetz. And I support all of the individuals Trump is putting forward today.
You know, curiously, on the one hand, you want to have the opportunity to ask questions and have people challenge for the sake of the American people's information in the vaccine space. But isn't there, you kind of giving a carte blanche of sorts to Donald Trump? You don't have any questions about the process or concerns about any of the appointees?
Well, there's a process of checks and balances. You showed earlier on the program tonight the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Thune, who said that there is a process.
Two equally ridiculous claims. I want to first say, Matt Gaetz good on civil rights really in what sense, Nancy? In what sense is Matt Gaetz good on civil rights? But the second part was more ridiculous to me, saying that there's checks and balances that go into this process. So if Matt Gaetz is confirmed, it'll be because the Senate will out. No, Donald Trump is going to probably appoint Matt Gaetz through a recess appointment there. Likely won't be a Senate confirmation hearing for him because he's a criminal and of course shouldn't be in the cabinet. He's a danger. But Donald Trump doesn't care because Mr. Dictator, on day one, Donald already told us he's blowing past the checks and balances. This is what you voted for. MAGA, this is your guy. And it's what AOC was calling out right here.
Let's talk about RFK Jr. And we were talking a little bit in the break. Let's bring that forward to TV. Some of the concerns you have about what he might do to HHS.
Yeah, I think it's what's very important too is that, yes, there are these concerns about that. You have a baby, and anywhere in the world, I mean, protecting against polio, against measles, against very serious communicable diseases that, I mean, we would be talking about going back to the, 1700, 1800. I mean, this is serious. But on top of that, if you're a Republican that voted for Donald Trump, you believe in his agenda, something that is broadly popular among Republicans and Democrats are community health centers. If you live in a rural area and there's not a hospital very close to you, but there is a community center closer to you, it could be decimated under Robert F. Kennedy. And we're talking about people who live in rural communities. We're talking about people who live in underserved communities that have been neglected. In order to, whether it's to get a shot or just to get checked up on, we're talking about the potential decimation of community health centers.
And we haven't even gotten to Tulsi Gabbard potentially having access to national security information. And Russia loves it, loves her.
And I actually think almost more than Matt Gaetz, Tulsi Gabbard's appointment is devastating. And Tulsi Gabbard's nomination, as much as she says that she's an anti-war person, she's not. She supports very pro-war individuals.
Including abroad. In Syria.
And let's be very clear, a Tulsi Gabbard nomination is a pro-war nomination globally. Point blank, period.
As is Donald Trump as president of the United States. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Much appreciated, thank you. And let me ask you this question, because we've been talking a lot about RFK Jr. My mind is a bit blown. I mean, we knew that Donald Trump would go wild. There's no constraints on him. He could just put all his friends in. But we're talking about about RFK Jr. and the possibility of people pulling back on measles vaccines, on another pandemic happening. You're talking about Matt Gaetz. There's a 17-year-old girl out there terrified that all of her records, all of the witnesses against him in this case where she was trafficked could be in the hands of Matt Gaetz, and he could be the most powerful law enforcement official in the country in a case where the president of the United States is an adjudicated sexual abuser. If you're a sexual assault survivor, you're thinking, oh my God, this country is out to get me. They're out to get me and force me to have children by sexual assault. So the message to women has been insane, okay? And the people he's nominating are TV hosts, etc. Do you think the people who voted for him that you've talked to were expecting this?
No.
Or true mass deportation?
Genuinely,
yeah.
No. And it's heartbreaking, actually. It is heartbreaking. And people may want to take like a kind of vengeful stance about this, but it is genuinely heartbreaking. People need to understand that there are people, millions of people in this country, and I was one of them, where you are working 2-3 shifts a day to try to make ends meet. You're not reading the newspaper.
We should have listened to all the warnings. I know I did. I know you did. Unfortunately, too many others didn't, and now we have dangerous individuals out to serve themselves. And in Tulsi Gabbard's case, Putin in our government, that's what it's going to look like. But it will be incumbent upon us, like I said, to make sure that we do everything we can to have our voices heard, to put pressure on these spineless Republicans to maybe do a right thing for once in their life and leak the report about Matt Gaetz that was supposed to be released from the House. Maybe we can get that. Maybe we can get some amount of pushback. And we're going to continue to talk about that every single day on this show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you're stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.